Hi and welcome to all of you on indiapostlive.com, India's first online news conversation portal. So for cricket lovers, first we had an Indian Premier League. Then came the Indian the Indian Hockey League, and then the Indian Badminton League. And now, finally, for football lovers, the Indian Super League is here. But what does it really mean, and will real football fans be happy? Let's take a quick look at what it entails.
The wait is finally over for all the football fans in India. The Indian Super League is here. The newly proposed Football League is expected later this year. The organisers of the tournament, All India Football Federation and IMG Reliance have sought bids for 9 cities. But only top bidders for 8 cities will have teams in the Indian Super League. With the FIFA World Cup due in June this year, looks like football fever is here to stay.
The idea was to have a franchise-based league in 8 different cities to give Indian football a special status and to bring in big money to attract foreign players, top-class foreign players. Foreign players have been coming to India for over 2 decades now, if more than that. But those were not really of the very highest quality. Now, here to attract European professionals, South American professionals, you have this franchise-based league. And to create an identity. So this was a way to bring eyeballs to Indian football, to improve infrastructure, to give Indian football that cutting edge as far as media coverage goes for a couple of months. And obviously it is based on the IPL, the cricket model.
All right, I'm Nilanjana and I'm joined by 2 guests. First, we have Mr. Shekhar Luthra, who's a senior sports journalist. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And joining us on Skype is Mr. Babu Methar, who is the Vice Chairman of the Disciplinary Committee of the All India Football Federation. Mr. Methar, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. Thank you and welcome to the show. Let me first ask you, Shekhar, as a journalist, as a sports observer, do you think the Indian Super League will actually take football to a higher pedestal?
Well, Nilanjana, Indian market is a virgin market as far as football is concerned. And we definitely need, one big initiative, and probably this could be the one. Because right now I'm saying this could be because there is a lot of fluid right now, what they are going to do, how they are going to, involve the franchise. Because we understand that cricket has got such a big response as far as franchise is concerned, as far as the market, tapping the market is concerned. But only problem is, do we have the same kind of icons to create the same kind of buzz in the market for as far as football is concerned? We have a lot of players. I mean, Bhutia is now retired, we all know. Sunil Chetri is there, a lot of other upcoming players are there. But do we really have the market value for all these players? That's a big question. And if we say yes, we have a market and we have a potential, then probably what IMG is going to do, what they have actually couple of plans they have shared with the media is that there will be icon players from around the world. Could be David Beckham, Thierry Henry, Drogba, all these players. Michael Owen. So in a way, a great initiative that way. But only thing is whether we have the same kind of money to pour in for all these players. If yes, this is a great idea.
All right, let me ask that question to Mr. Methar. Football is such a beautiful game, but 66 years of independence, we haven't really made it big when it comes to that game. You just have certain states where football is played, and I'm sure, like me, a lot of youth don't really know much about domestic football in our own country. How do you respond to what Shekhar just talked about, about there is a tremendous possibility to take football to a higher pedestal with the launch of the Indian Super League?
Yeah, I do agree with Shekhar, his comments. It's actually India had been doing pretty well in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
And even the early 70s. We were on the world map of football. Not cricket those days. Hockey was there. India even reached the semi-final of the Olympics in 1956 in Melbourne. Unfortunately, we couldn't qualify we qualified for the World Cup, but unfortunately we couldn't go there,
Yes.
take part in the World Cup because, some of our players were not wearing soccer boots. So what happened was 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, India had lot of tournaments. I mean, all India level tournaments like Durand, DCM, Rovers Cup, IFA Shield, and when you come to South, the Stafford Challenge Cup, Wither Trophy in Kerala alone, we had about 8 to 9 all India tournaments. We had players and we had clubs. Suddenly, the early 2000, the beginning of the century, we saw a decline in the standard of soccer in this
Yes.
country, and we no longer see any superstars, playing around, with the exception perhaps of Sunil Chetri. We have to address all these things, and on top of that, the question of infrastructure. Do we really have, infrastructure to hold
But
professional?
you have laid down very stringent rules this time. Whichever team, whichever franchisee is coming forward to bid, they have to work very hard to develop very professional football fields.
Well, that's the real big problem,
Yes.
because unless you have football at the ground level, grassroots level,
Yes.
all you need is just one football, which could cost you a couple of hundreds, and unlike cricket or unlike golf. But the only problem is at the grassroots level, no state is seriously working at. Yes, we know Goa is there, and Bengal, of course, traditionally is there. But apart from these states, Kerala a little bit, and then Punjab, parts of Punjab. But the real problem is, apart from Northeast, which is Mizoram. Mizoram has actually, the government has
Yes.
worked at the grassroots. There are a lot of clubs. There are, the football has actually come up in a big way. And if you look at the junior level team, or if you look at the club level teams there, lot of players are coming into the Indian team. That's a great thing which is happening. But unless we follow their model, unless we do exactly what Mizoram has done, I think football is again restricted to only 3-4 states. And with 3-4 states, let me tell you, it will again be the same kind of standard of football. You can bring in lot of stars, Beckham or anybody, but again you need people to follow their footsteps. You need the infrastructure, so that your player, right from under 12 to under 16, they should be able to follow the same kind of coaching techniques or coaching pattern what the worldwide is following.
But you would say it's a start, Mr. Metha, in a situation where which one might say was deplorable, maybe. You yourself said, Shekhar said that we also have a lack of icons. In a situation like that, the beginning of the ISL could be a start to something better, right? And also, India being this huge, vast country with different terrains every few 100 miles, to develop proper football fields and to develop football at the grassroots level is quite a challenge. Would you agree?
It's a challenge, but earlier days, we had a lot of competition at school levels and college levels.
Right.
So we are missing all these things. We have to bring back the spectators back to football stadia. That is the first thing. Then the grassroots level development. That is, unless we develop the younger generation, there is no point in talking loud about professionalism and super league and all such things. We have to start from the grassroots level. First, junior players should be identified. A talent hunt is required. We need professional coaches at the working at grassroots level. Then slowly these boys, they will graduate to youth level.
Yes.
Then they can join the pro
A
competitions.
very concerted effort starting right from when they're kids, and then slowly they take it to the next level, to a very professional level, and bring football to where it really belongs in this country, because the love for the game is tremendous. All of you who are watching this, please post your comments on indiapostlive.com, and we also have a Twitter handle. Please note it. It's hashtag IndiaPostLive. We are all waiting for your comments. I'm sitting right here with the tablet, and I'm going to read out your comments as they come in. To continue with what Mr. Mehta said, well, all of you are sounding very positive and optimistic about it. Let's talk, it is also a fact that there has been a 60% increase in television audiences for football. From 2005 to 2009, there was an increase, and that is basically, you have the international tournaments. How do you see Indian audiences? How do you see ISL affecting the Indian football lovers?
I think a lot of credit should go to AIFF, because lot of planning, I would say, lot of vision that way. Of course, there is a perception. I also agree with what Supreme Court also recently said, that politicians should not be holding post in the sports committees. But here, Mr. Praful Patel, let me tell you, he has given complete freedom to his staff, because as I understand, and he has been contributing a lot in terms of his connections and his clout to bring in money. So
the money bringing that you were talking about, IMG Reliance has signed up a 700 crore deal with AIFF. What are your comments on the kind of thought that would have gone into this?
This entire money is, again, as I was saying, this is all fluid right now, because unless and until you come out with a plan, because there is absolutely, they have made a blueprint, but they have not shared it with anyone. There are little bit of leaks in the media that such and such is going to be icon. This is how we are going to go with the 8 franchises and all. And even players like Cannavaro, Maradona, they are going to be playing along with So this is all again very fluid. Unless you actually have a plan on ground, unless you actually come out with all your auctions, with all your players, that how you are going to distribute, how many Indian players will be there in one team, and then how many juniors, sub-juniors, all this, you have to develop it in a way that the academies, there should be, if there are 8 franchises for a fact, then probably 8 cities should have at least 3-4 academies under them. So they have to develop the game in a way so that the footballers, the budding footballers, should feel free to go there, to train there, and also they should have a career ahead. Because in India, the most important, the most difficult thing for any, whether it's cricketer or football, is to earn your, livelihood.
Yes.
So unless you have a guarantee of job,
access to good training, access to good coaching, and subsequently,
and then the future, your
future as a career in the sport.
Yes.
All right, let's find out what the common man out there is talking about when it comes to ISL. How much do they really know about it? What has the kind of media coverage been, and what are they expecting from the ISL? Let's take a look.
जो अपना इंटरनेशनल अंतर्राष्ट्रीय खेल है उसको तो पछाड़ते जा रहे हैं, जो दूसरे देशों से आए हैं उनको आप आगे ले जा रहे हो सबसे आगे। तो ऐसा मत करो ना, जो अपना अंतर्राष्ट्रीय है, जो अपना राष्ट्रीय खेल है, उसे आगे बढ़ाओ।
इनको चमका रखा है, इनको करोड़ों इनकी जेब भर रखी है, जिनके पेट भरा हुआ है ना उन्हीं को खाने को दे रहे हैं, और जिनके नहीं है बेचारे, जो अपने घरों को छोड़ के, अपने फैमिली वालों को छोड़ के, जो बॉर्डर अपनी जान के लिए लेते हैं, उनके लिए कुछ नहीं सोचती गवर्नमेंट। अब इंडिया ही बेकार है भाई, करप्शन है। कोई क्रिकेट में मस्त है, कोई फुटबॉल में, सबका अलग अलग शौक।
In watching ISL.
Why not? Sure. As long as there's no sports fixing involved.
उसको भी क्रिकेट जैसा देना भी चाहिए उसमें।
तो इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर बात है, लोगों को कितना इंटरेस्ट किस पे है, किस पे नहीं है, क्रिकेट पे है, किसी को हॉकी पे है, अपने अपने इंटरेस्ट के ऊपर बात है। जितने लोगों को इंटरेस्ट होगा तो ज़्यादा उसको रिस्पॉन्स अच्छा मिलेगा।
नहीं, हमें नहीं लगता, क्योंकि खास करके हमारे भारत में तो ज़्यादातर क्रेज़ क्रिकेट का है, क्रिकेट का क्रेज़ है, और फुटबॉल का क्रेज़ अभी बिल्ड हो रहा है, तो मतलब अभी समय लगेंगे इसे।
I hope it does well, but I'm not a football fan. I'm a cricket fan. But if money is invested in it and people promote it, then it might do good.
क्रिकेट का क्रेज़ ज़्यादा है, लेकिन जो अगली जनरेशन आ रही है वो बहुत ज़्यादा थोड़ा इसका झुकाव फुटबॉल की साइड भी है। अब ऐसे तो होगा नहीं, देखो मतलब ये थोड़ा करेंगे इसमें।
No, of course not. Cricket is the god, so no.
The logistics in Indian football is very difficult. For one, India is a huge country. Traveling from Goa to Delhi is a massive weather change also, which very rarely happens in Europe and places like that. So there's a massive weather change. So there are a lot of logistics problems, stadium problems. We do not own our stadiums. Clubs do not own their own stadiums. So refurbishing those stadiums, like Nehru Stadium for instance, if there's an international athletic meet later on, it's going to become an athletic stadium. Also fear is that in September the Asian Games start. So that is also going to divide media attention. So you're not having a very clear window in which only the focus is on the Indian Super League. After the World Cup, it will help because there will be an interest, a lot of massive interest after the Brazil 2014 World Cup. But that will have finished by 13 July. By the time this starts, it will be, memories will have started fading. 2 months will have gone. Of course, there will be a lot of anticipation of which foreign player is coming to play and who will come, and now people are aware of foreign players, so that excitement will be there. But logistically, yes, it's not going to be all that easy. Yes, they will be of help to Indian players in terms of professional approach, how to approach a game. So the really top stars are going to be very few. I mean, there are some marquee names being talked about, and maybe it would help if some of them come as coaches. But really long term to Indian football, let's see what happens.
Okay, let's see what happens is what Novika Pandya is saying. Mr. Mehta, let me get back to you. You heard a lot of youth talking, and there was a mixed response really. People don't have football players to really look up to, do they? The Sachin Tendulkars, the Dhonis, the Ganguly, they are not there, and they really don't know what to expect. There's a lot of trepidation, there's a lot of apprehension. So what do you think as a part of, or as the beginning of such a huge thing, what do you think you can really do to attract interest, first of all, primarily interest? Because as Novi said, it is also true that people are watching thanks to the international tournaments, which we were talking about earlier. What can the AIFF really do to bring back the interest where people are really waiting in anticipation for the matches?
No, we have to improve the standard of the quality of the clubs. That's the first thing we have to do.
Right.
We need superstars. Honestly, domestic superstars, Indian players, not just players coming from Europe or Latin America. That alone won't serve the purpose. 50s. We have so many players from Calcutta, Karnataka, and even Andhra Pradesh. Big names. Kannan, then Chuni Goswami, P.K. Banerjee, all those players, came from Bengal. Then Inder Singh from Punjab side, Goa, we saw Bruno Coutinho's and all, coming up. I.M. Vijayan and Jopal and Cherry, they were all role models, superstars. They had a lot of fan base. Where are Baichung Bhutia? Now Bhutia is interested more in politics, not in football.
Yes.
We want him back on football administration. People like him.
Okay, that's a very good point you raised. That's why. In fact, let me just talk to you. Mr. Mehta just talked of Baichung Bhutia. We want to see him back there. But it is also a fact that a lot of players who are associating with the ISL are retired or semi-retired players.
You have to also, understand that bringing in the current superstar would cost a dream for anybody. It is not that easy. In fact, IMG World has contracted almost all the players in the top players. So that's been a big selling point. But again, to bring them to India and then to keep them here for a couple of days would be just mind-boggling kind of cost. So in a way, I think it is a good idea to have players like Cannavaro, Beckham, and all these players who could be little bit come in a little bit little cost, and then they can be here. They can, as Novi was saying, we probably need them in the coaching role rather than in the in the playing role. Of course, they can start playing for 10 minutes, then going back to the dugout and then helping players out. that would bring that would actually make them not just the household name, but also a lot of franchises will be able to sell their different kind of kits and other apparels in their
So
names,
basically,
because
you're
that's
talking about
basically, yes.
you're talking about taking baby steps at a certain level by bringing in experienced players who can also be a guiding force, perhaps, for the ISL, and then we take things forward. At this point, I would like to thank Mr. Babu Methar, the Vice Chairman of the Disciplinary Committee of the AIFF. He's been wonderful, very positive, and his thoughts were very appreciated by us. Thank you so much for coming on the show, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right. Let's get back to what you were saying. You said that okay, these people come in, they play a role where more of a guidance kind of a thing. Now, this particular team that we're talking about, 22 members and all of that, 10 international players, 8 domestic players, and 4 local players. Yes. Take us through, what do you think of the kind of response it could elicit from local level genuine football lovers?
The problem in India is that we, as everybody agreed, that we don't have icon players.
Right.
And to create icon players within us, there has to be conscious effort right from now on, because what AIFF or what IMG has in mind is 2020 vision. It is not 2014 or 2015 vision. They are actually working towards 2020 vision, where we could have at least say a couple of players, a dozen players or maybe 2 dozen players who could be who could belong to every household in India. That is very important, because right now what we are developing in, what we are investing in from the FIFA money coming in, and also AIFF, they are investing in huge that terms. So they are investing in junior teams, and there are academies which has coming in. So probably by 2020 we'll have a team which could play as fast or as good as a top Asian team. I am not talking about the European team. We have to follow the example of Iran. Iran is about 30 to 40 years ahead of us right now. So we have to follow Malaysia or UAE, kind of all these players. We have to slowly start integrating all these foreign players or international players into our youth team, and probably that's the only way to go ahead, to move ahead.
We have a caller from Delhi, Arpit Verma. Arpit, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hi Arpit, I'm Nilanjana, and I have Shekhar Luthra with me. Arpit, tell us, what do you have to say?
Okay, so I've been a Manchester United fan for the past 14 years. I've seen the world as much as football I could. I'd like to draw a comparison with the MLS in the US. When the MLS started a few years ago, they had a very similar roadmap going forward, that they'll call in a lot of stars, and of course Beckham went in there, and then there were Williamsons and Robbie Keanes of the world who were really good. But eventually, MLS has become sort of a retirement home for people. And I kind of agreed with what Novi was saying, that maybe, bringing these guys in as perhaps coaches would be more helpful as compared to players, because, the Crespos of the world and the Owens of the world, we're not really interested in watching. We're more, we'd like to see the youth of India probably get a bigger chance. So my question is, we know Beckham is probably going to buy Miami in, as a franchisee. Why don't we have some of these guys, maybe the Van Bastens of the world, come in and buy perhaps a franchisee here and actually run it their way with their coaches, because we know the infrastructure in India is not going to help.
Okay, Shekhar, how would you respond to that?
Very interesting. In fact, this is how youth look at our football.
Yes.
Even, at his age, I used to, watch a lot of football, but again international, not the Indian football.
Unfortunately.
And unfortunately. Yes. Because, and the moment I used to switch on to the, watch Indian TV, Indian football, I used to get bored, and probably comparing it with the world football, which is again not, I would say, not suggested, and which is not logical also at this moment. But what he is saying, it could happen, what happened to MLS initially and what happened to US team initially, if you Alex Lala and all.
In fact, if I could just interrupt you there for just 1 second, because this is the question very similar to what Ankit is asking. We have a Twitter from Debajit Adhikari. His Twitter handle is Adhikari Debajit, and he is asking, will the Indian Super League be able to attract top footballing talent from around the world?
Not at all. Simple
There
answer.
you have it.
And you know what I was saying, when US hold the World Cup at one point of time, almost 20 years back, the response was enormous. They were, their team did so well, and before that there was a consistent efforts in the direction that we have to build the team. Alex Lala was one superstar, with that beard and everybody. He became a household name. But only thing is, what happened after that? MLS, he's very right. It has become a house for all the retiring players. But again, we should be following their model. But gradually, we have to develop our own team in order to sustain. Because India is a much bigger market than US or any other European market, and that is why all these big players, all these big clubs, they are tapping onto Indian market. But what is happening is, clubs like Barcelona or Real or some other European clubs, they have been launching their kind of initiative by holding on to one school, by just adopting one school and then inviting people to send their child there and pay huge fees. That could only attract a millionaire in India, but not the ordinary people.
Ankit, let me ask you, as a genuine football player, once the season of ISL starts, will you be really watching?
Okay, a couple of things here. The first being the football calendar is already so jam-packed that I don't see where this is gonna fill up. As a Premier League watcher, as an international watcher, of course, I'm gonna be following the Rooneys and the Van Persies of the world, and not probably the Baichung Bhutias. Once again, simply because we'll be bringing in people who, as a genuine footballer, I'm not interested in following anymore. I've seen what Michael Owen had to do. He had 20 good years to show me. If you're going to draw a comparison with IPL, one reason IPL is really successful is because a lot of good Indian talent is coming through. For me, if good Indian youth is coming through, if there is a drastic improvement in the infrastructure,
but one cannot be so impatient, can one? It's only the first. It's only being launched. It'll take some time. What Shekhar said, that we're targeting 2020, not 2014.
So then I think we have to go gradually, and then why not build the youth from the very first day? I mean, that should be the entire focus of something like this, and not really the
that is exactly what Mr. Babu Mehtar was talking about.
In fact, Nilanjana, when I was talking to AIFF, development team, I was told that you must have a look at under 17 team. That's the real talent which is coming up. We have to be patient a little bit, and that's what IBL is all about. IBL will have about 10 players from the junior section, and then probably 5 to 6 international players, and then couple of India A players. So it will be a good mix. But again, the kind of speed these under 17 kids could have, probably they will outpace the Indian team. But only thing is, in terms of the quality, in terms of the trapping, in terms of the other skills, probably they'll be lacking behind. So we have to be little patient. And what I understand from my knowledge or talking to other experts, I think it is, again, what I have said, the vision is 2020 and not 2014 or 2017. But yes, in 2017, when we'll have under 17 World Cup, that is going to draw a huge crowd there.
So Ankit, I would request you to be patient, more encouraging towards ISL.
And be positive. I think you should be backing Indian football as long as we have the right plans.
As an Indian, you should. As an Indian, you should, because it is important to bring back the love of football back to Indians, because cricket has been a religion for so many years, and when the Indian Premier League happened, the whole energy of the 2020 really took over. But to bring back that kind of passion and that kind of love for the sport will take a little bit of time, Ankit. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on Skype. And for all of you out there, indiapostlive.com. Please give us your comments. We have a Twitter handle, #@IndiaPostLive. All right. Is everything really hunky-dory as it appears to be in the ISL? I'm sure there are issues.
No, I suppose not.
Yes.
Because what they have done, IMG, India, Reliance, is that they have not shared their blueprint with rest of the people. Because they are waiting for Mr. Praful Patel, who is the president of AIFF,
Yes.
to get free from all this,
The electoral,
electoral
yes.
things.
Yes.
Once he's done with this, probably they have asked for an appointment. They'll have a meeting, and then only after that they are going to go public about their plans. Right now, what we understand is about 8 franchises, and one of the franchises is going to be from the northeast, which is going to be a big plus for Indian football.
Right.
And
We have very little time right now, but as I was saying, that there are definitely issues, especially with relation to the I League and the problems that that might
I-League
entail.
has failed to deliver what it was meant for. Though it has
Let's
been
quickly
a
let's
good,
quickly take a look at what some of our experts are talking about when it comes to. All right. In fact, okay, we'll cut to that. We really don't have time right now. Okay. But your last comments on the issues that are really pressing issues at hand.
I think pressing issue is probably money is going to be there. It's a virgin market, as I have said. But only thing is our youth.
Are you worried about sponsorship?
Not really. Not about the sponsorship. As long as our politicians are involved and they are going in the positive direction.
Great.
They are not trying to make
the intent
quick
is
money.
there. The intent is right.
there.
All right.
But only thing is we need to impress our youth. Youth is something they are very much interested in football.
They are the backbone of this entire
But only thing is we have to make sure that this youth begin to believe in Indian football. If they could, will have eyeballs, and which is required to make it a success.
So there we have it. That's the message. The Indian youth needs to believe in the sport, needs to get back to the sport, and needs to get back to watching Indian soccer on television. All right. Thank you so much. We had a lovely chat, and it's time for us to wrap up. Please keep writing to us your comments on the site as well as our Twitter handle. Thank you. Take care.